So I'm here with Portuguese Olympic show jumper, Luciana Diniz, and you are eyeing down your 5th Olympic Games. First of all, you've just had this incredible career. You are probably one of my absolute favorite riders to watch. You just always look like you're having so much fun, even when in these like really high stress situations and these really high pressure situations. Like when you ride, I always think to myself, like, there's something this woman knows that like the rest of us don't. Like you just always look like you're having so much fun. And I want to talk today about sort of the way that we view horses when we're using them in sport. Because I think that this is a tricky balance that almost every rider who has their own goals faces at some point in their riding career, whether it's in a big way or in a small way. I know that I have. I'm certainly not eyeing down any Olympic Games, but I think that this applies to every single rider. When you have your own goals and you have this horse, it's like, how do you balance like the love and connection and the relationship that you have with your horse while also wanting to be sort of this fierce competitor and this athlete and achieving your own goals? And sort of that question, that balance is, can we be serious athletes and ride horses to meet our goals without objectifying them and without sort of emotionally detaching ourselves from them so that we can like depersonalize our horses to make it easier for ourselves? And I think that, Luciana, you're like living proof of this. And that's why I've been just so excited to finally get this episode recorded, because you're showing us as a role model in the sport and as a top competitor that it's possible to get to the very highest level of the sport without objectifying your horses. And you refer to them as your friends, you call them by name, and you sort of one of the pillars of your training method is really to listen to what they're trying to communicate with you. So just to sort of start off, where did this come from? And do you feel like your approach to your horses and your relationship with your horses is different from your fellow competitors?
First of all, hi, Caroline. Hi, everyone that is watching us today and enjoying, this beautiful moment now. And thank you so much for your wonderful words about me, who I am, the way I treat my horses. And what I can tell you is that I do everything from the heart. And this is the key when you love what you do. I learned that from my father when I was a little kid. Luciana, what you choose in your life, choose what you love to do. And not something that you have to do, but for what you choose, you have to love it. So this is something that becomes always in my mind and in my heart. What do I really love? And I think my really, how can I say, the secret of my passion, of my love for the horses already started in the belly of my mother, because she was riding until she was 7 months pregnant.
Wow.
So I was already like, in the
You were
belly of
on the horse. Yeah.
mother, on the horse. So I had to love it one day, And so this is one thing really that from the beginning on, my family, they're all involved in horses. My grandfather was riding. He rode until he was 86 years old. My mom, she's in the Guinness Book of Dressage in Brazil. So she won many times the Dressage Championship. My father was playing polo. My brothers were the 2 best polo players in Brazil, 8 and 9 handicap. My uncle was playing polo. So it was no chance for Luciana not to love horses. I grew up with them. And I started loving them from, like I said, even before I born. And also, for me, it was very important that my family always supported us in our dreams. And the horses were like a family. That's why they became my friends, like you said. That's why I refer to them my friends, because they are my best friends. They are the ones that know me. They understand me. And you know what? They don't judge me for who I am, if I do mistakes, if I don't do. They love me the way I am. And this is one thing that I say why I love horses so much, because they always bring us to learn something. When we are connected with them, you asked me about connection. It's because every day I am with my horses, I can learn something about them, being with them, but also about myself. And this is for me the core of everything, that first to love what we do, and then to see what you can learn from it. It's your life, the path you choose. So what can you learn, what the best you can take out of it? And then the another thing that is really super important is the mission, the purpose of life. What do you want to do with everything you learn? And that's what I said. My mission is to share with you today and all of you that are watching us today what I've been learning with my horses, and that's everything I can tell you and much more.
Yeah. Do you recognize, or do you feel that your sort of worldview about this, like your perspective about your relationship with your horses, is different? Because it strikes me as very, very different. As someone who has been lucky to interview lots of top riders and go to lots of the big shows, there's something different about this. Like I feel that there's sometimes this hardness in top sport, but you have managed to kind of stay in the light. Do you feel like you're different?
I think we are all different. This is one thing I learned in life and with horses, and also working with people, and even having twins. I have two boys, Pedro and Paulo, both born in my belly on the same day, just 1 minute difference. And these two individuals, they are so different,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. My way, I call my way of being with my horses, treating my horses, riding my horses, is different. But it doesn't matter that is better or worse. It's just my way, the way I learn to go. You understand what I mean? It's very difficult to say I'm different than the others. I think everyone has a unique way of going with the horses, and it's a question of like choosing, how do I want to treat my horses? How do I want to feel my horses? Because that's what we forget today. It's so competitive, this sport, and everyone wants to win. Everyone wants just to, sit on a horse, have the best horse, and then go there and win. And it's not only about winning. I say, first we have to feel, are we doing what we love? Then we have to choose the right horses for us. And I tell you, I learned in my life that I could only be successful with the horses I really love. And some wrong horses came in my life to show me, Luciana, if you don't really love a horse and you don't believe on this horse, and you even have fears when you ride this horse, you're not going to be able to succeed the way you succeed with the ones you love, you trust, and they are your friends. And this is also very important when you choose horses, something that have a, how to say, a chemistry with you.
Right.
It's like a symphony with you. And that is maybe, like you say, being different. I'm being very lucky to have wonderful horses. I've been very lucky to love what I do for my job. And I'm very lucky to have, again, these special friends that make me the rider that I am today, because I learn every day with them. And this is like, maybe, like you said, being different. I think a lot of people can also choose for their lives to, to be more connected with their horses. I used to say to be one with your horse. How is to be one with your horse? Is to talk to your horse, is to look to their eyes, to see how they feel, to breathe with them. Have you ever tried to sit on a horse and then breathe together with your horse? Have you ever tried that?
No. Now I want to.
Yes, and that is the things, like I said, I want to, to pass to you the things that I learned and make a big difference on my life. And that came, for example, in the Olympic Games in London, when I was working with a mentor trainer, and he said to me, I would like you to go to your horse every day before you ride, and then touch him and just embrace your horse, like just embrace your horse and just stay there and breathe with him. I mean, I said, oh, it's funny. I talked to my horse, but I never really thought about breathing with my horse.
No, I never would have thought to do that.
And since that day, I do that every time when I sit on the horse today. The first few, I would say maybe, not say minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, but when I'm with my horse in the beginning and walking, I just like breathing with the horse, and feeling like this, the breathing goes up and down with me and my horse. And this is, like you said, maybe that's a bit a different way of being, but it's just so simple that you can also practice whatever you want with the horse, or sitting on a horse, or being with the horse, or even giving the horse grass, or close to a horse. You understand what I mean? This is
Mhm.
already the first connection where you can create with the horse that is going to be your friend and after your partner when you want to achieve your goals on the classes and on the competition.
Mhm.
So this is a very unique way of being. I'm not saying different, but it's my way, and I want to share with all of you and tell you, you can all do it.
It is a unique way. And I think that's the thing that really strikes me is that, you mentioned it's so easy to get caught up in being competitive and being on sort of the nicest horse and all of those things that we feel like we're constantly sort of chasing. And I see this very commonly. I mean, even in small ways, like we actually ran an article on noelfloyd.com recently, and it was written by a junior rider who said that she really felt like horses in sort of her sphere were just objectified and people referring to them as its instead of like referring to the horse by name. Even just a small thing like referring to your horse as it instead of he or she, or calling them by name, or like calling them a jackass, or like whatever bad word you want to call your horse that day. And look, I certainly know I have called my horse an asshole. Like, frustration is real. It happens. We have human emotions too. But I think it's interesting that, here's a junior rider, for instance, that is speaking out about like waving a little flag that like, hey, maybe this culture of objectifying our horses and sort of merely viewing them as athletic tools is not only bad for the horses, but it's bad for us. And so how do we shift that culture a little bit? Because this is something that clearly you're very in touch with the fact that having a more like empathic, connected relationship with your horse gives you an edge. Like, it helps your performance. And I think that that's something that you understand, but I don't think that this is widely understood in sort of the realm of competitive sport.
We can say the horses are very authentic, right? What happened when they feel fears, or they listen to something and they get stuck on the place, they get paralyzed,
Mm-hmm.
and they just like feeling scared,
Yeah.
so and then what happened when they are excited and they want to bark and they are full of energy? So what I'm saying is they are so authentic, they cannot hide emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is, like you just said with your junior boy today, is that we are becoming more automatic, we are becoming more robots in the society, and then we lose the feel. And I say the horses, they bring us back to feel. Because if we are riding them, we straight away feel when they get tense. We straight away feel when they're happy, when they have energy. And then sometimes they stop and they want to look, they listen to something, sometimes unconcentrated. But that's also the way we are as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then like going back to your question, is when we start feeling more in life, what do we want? What is our purpose? We believe we have a higher purpose in life. And my purpose is to share what I've been learning with all of you. And exactly to a boy like this, say, look, starts going back to your heart, to your feel. Do you love your horse? Do you love what you're doing? Do you want to win just for the ego, or you want to win for yourself to make you, satisfied? I did a good course. And sometimes the victory is not that one being the first place in the podium. The victory is that one that you feel good about yourself inside.
Yeah.
And then I go back a little bit to your question before about connecting with the horse. There are two very important moments of my life that people always remember. And there was like the finals of the Global Champions Tour in Doha and Aachen when I was second in the Grand Slam. And I come with Fit for Fun in that, amazing place that I love, Aachen, with
Oh my gosh.
60,000 people watching you. And I kind of closed my eyes when I came in, and I just breathe with Fit for Fun. I'm just being with her, being one with her. And I could feel at that moment, I didn't hear anything around me, the public or anything. I was just being with my horse. And that is what I say, being objective. Our objective was to win on that day. But if I would not have the feel, the sensation, the emotions, being one with my horse on that day, I would not have achieved what I achieved. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is what I said. Unfortunately, today, maybe many of the writers are missing this, these feelings again, being one, being connected, being inside, happy, satisfied with themselves. And that's why they need to blame the horse that it was not good. We did a mistake. What about looking to ourselves? What about looking what we are doing? What are we learning? And that's why it is another funny story why I wrote the book Fit for Goat, because normally people write a book when they win the goat, when they win a medal. And someone asked to me, why you wrote Fit for Goat? You didn't win the goat. I said, no, but I was ready to win the goat. And the journey, from my dream to win the goat, that is what made me happy. And I was happy through the whole process.
Right.
And when I got there, I see that I did not win the gold medal, but I won much more. I learned so much every day, and I have so many experiences to share with you. And this is a victory, and that's why I said to you, sometimes it's not, I say the happiness isn't in the way toward our dreams. It's in the process, but not in the final destination. I did not win the gold. I was not on the podium, but I won the gold for myself.
Yeah.
And this is what I wanted to share in my book, Fit for Gold. Every day I had something to learn, and every day I got something positive out of this, even if I did not win the medal. So back to your question, yes, the riders are very competitive. They just see one thing, they want to win. They want to be, they want to prove to their parents that they are good. They want to prove to society they are good. They need the outside, recognition. They need a lot from outside to make them happy inside. The day when they learn that with the horses, we have to look first inside, be one with our horses, have the goals and work for this and transform them in reality, then is when we have more chances to achieve the higher goals. This is a little bit the way I see that.
I have goosebumps, woman. Oh, that's the stuff. And it's hard. I think it's difficult when we are battling with our egos. I mean, so I've talked on this podcast a little bit about my return to the saddle after having a baby and having a C-section, and sort of my internal battle with my ego, because my body is different than it used to be. My ability and my strength is different than it used to be. And then, you and I were speaking before we started recording that my mental state is very different than it was before I had a baby. And so I recently had a lesson where I was just so caught up in my head, and I'm going around and basically like what I was asking for from the horse wasn't happening. And I was having this moment of like, I used to do this every day on like 4 horses every single day. And like all of a sudden now I feel like I can't do anything. I just have this internal ego spiral about, this means I'm not a good rider anymore. This means that I'm not worthy of doing this anymore. Why am I wasting my money? What, it's just, it gets all in your head. And my trainer, bless her, was like, hey, Caroline, what are you thinking about right now? And can you just feel the horse that is underneath of you and get out of your head? And it was like that, like all of the pieces came together. And what I had been like trying to achieve almost that entire lesson completely clicked. And it just went back to getting out of my head, getting away from my ego and how good or skilled or whatever I thought that I was supposed to be in that moment, and just feeling the horse underneath me and riding every single step, every single breath on that horse. It was in my entire riding career that it was the most light bulb moment of, oh my gosh, that just worked. Like when I reconnected with the horse underneath of me, I saw an instant result. And then I was out of sort of like that mental anguish state of, I'm not good enough, the whole script that starts in your head, that I think is so easy for all of us to fall into. And I'm sure that you've had your ups and downs on your career. I don't think anyone is, I think you're pretty close to Superwoman, but I don't think anybody is actually Superwoman. What has that felt like for you when you've struggled with this in the past, when you've struggled with, have you ever felt yourself sort of get caught up in that just competitiveness or like that ego, and like, what did you do about it?
I think, like you said before, the ego can be our first enemy. And because I think ego is a very strong word and can be very negative, I gave a name for the ego, and I call my invisible me.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, I said it's the it's the person talking here just beside me, talking to me and putting things in my mind that he wants me to believe.
Right.
So it's very, how to say, interacting sometimes. And what happened is we go with this ego, and I call my invisible me, in an inner dialogue. And when this inner dialogue comes to you, it can be very positive, but most of the times I used to, even by myself, see there was a destructive inner dialogue, like you said, putting me down, putting doubts on my, my life, on my writing, where do you want to go, what do you want to do, and all things like that. And when it comes to this moment, that is when, like I said to you, it starts coming like a lot of things, like a puzzle. I saw horses. They bring us back to here now. So when I want to be connected with my horse, I'm a very visual, how to say, visualization person. I do a lot of, imagination things. And I put like a waste, so I put a waste here, and I say, I take the trash out of my mind and I put everything in a waste when I go to ride. Because if I go to the horse and I have all this energy, all this negative inner dialogue with me, I'm going to transmit that to my horse.
Absolutely.
So before I ride, going back to your question, it is really important. What we said before, to breathe with your horse, but even before you breathe, you can imagine a waste and put all your doubts, all your fears, everything you don't want to bring now to your horse in this waste, and let it go. What you're going to do with this waste after is another thing. So you have to work sometimes on the waste if you cannot let it go. But the best is put everything on the waste, make your mind free, and let go. And all these things, and that's why you said to me before, are you different? Are you creating or doing different things? No, I just created my own methodology, and which I'm very proud of it, because it's about transformation. That's why I gave the name of Butterfly, because we transform ourselves every day. We are learning every day. We sometimes are like the little animals going on the floor like this,
Right.
And then sometimes we fly like butterflies, and then we go back to be an egg again. Like I said, we are not only success, we are not only failures, and the failures is what motivates us even to be better every day. And then being together with your horse, connecting, breathing, talking to your horses, but to yourself as well, to your invisible me, and say, look, I love you. You're part of me. I embrace my fears. I embrace my negative dialogue, but you're not good for me. So I want to let you go, and all this you can learn now in my methodology. That's why I created my way masterclasses to share with all of you the beauty of the butterfly method. You can do that, and it's so simple. It's just so easy. Even like you said now, but that day I feel fear, I don't want to ride, I'm not good enough. That doesn't belong to you. You have to create a different image of yourself, but you need to work on yourself as well. Today is a new day. I want to ride my horse. I want to feel good. And I already want to sit on him, and that he feel this energy, that together we're going to learn something today. And if this outcome is positive or negative, we don't know, right? Because the only thing we are certain is about here and now. what is 1 second behind is already gone. We cannot change. And what is going to come in 1 second in front of us is also to come. So horses, they live on the here and now. They don't think, they don't judge, they're authentic. They have fears, they stop. They feel good, they balk. So why we cannot learn that from the horses? You know, when we feel paralyzed, then we need to analyze why we paralyze, why we stop, but then we choose to put it away and let go. If we choose to carry this invisible me with us all the time, so look, we are carrying a shadow here all the time with us. It's not better to let this out? We feel much lighter, we feel much better, and then we can be together with our horse and give our best. So it's a choice. And that's why I tell you, it's a choice also for you. When you ride your horse, bring all the good moments you had with this horse. Remember all of them, this good energy. And when you ride your horse, you're going to bring that energy for him, and not your actually inner thoughts in the moment that I'm fear, I just had my baby, I just don't feel good. No, what is the success I had just some weeks ago, some months ago? This is what you bring every day when you ride. It's a choice, and you can choose whatever you want. So choose to feel good, choose to bring the good energy, choose to be one with your horse. Breathe with your horse, be connected with him, talk to your horse. He's going to love it. He's going to listen to your voice. You can see on his ears, you know, when you talk to him, he's paying attention on you, or he's paying attention somewhere else. Talk to him, connect with him. You will see it's simple. You're going to love it, and you're going to feel good. I promise you.
Yeah. Gosh, it sounds so simple and almost like primitive, but we don't think to do this. Like we just get so caught up in our own sort of like mental like anguish that we don't think to soften ourselves and to do the softer thing and like the more vulnerable thing, which is to open ourselves up to our horses. At least for me, I can only speak for myself. I feel that when those wheels of self-doubt start turning, I just want to box myself off into a cage, not open myself up. And you and I had spoken about, we talk about this on the podcast a lot, the sports psychology and the mental side of the sport. It cannot be overstated how mental this sport is. So, like we've talked a lot about sort of like the emotional side of things and the emotional connection with horses. And for some people, that's going to feel a little bit too like warm and fuzzy and a little too touchy feely and a little bit woo woo. But I think that what we need to glean from this conversation is that if that makes you feel a little uncomfortable, you need to realize that, first of all, it's mental work. And second of all, this is actually linked to performance. And I know that you have a long history of working on your mental game and bringing the mental side of, bringing the mental training to sort of your physical training and combining those two things, which you've been doing for a really long time. And it seems commonplace now, but 10 years ago, we weren't talking about this. Like we weren't talking about sports psychology and sort of the rider's mind. So when did that start for you? And what has that journey been like for you in terms of your mental training?
I think it's very important for us to have courage to be imperfect.
Preach.
It's something like it sounds very like awkward, courage to be imperfect. We are not perfect.
But there's no such thing. I'm convinced. There's no such thing as perfect.
But many times we pretend to be perfect. We want to be perfect. And someone tells us, oh, you always want to be perfect. You always want to be the best one. No, first of all, is recognize, accept that it's okay not to be okay. Have courage to be imperfect and say, what can I learn from my weakness? How can I transform my weakness into strength? And that's why we are here for. We're all here for spiritual growth. And the ones that, in my opinion, maybe don't believe on that, they are maybe the ones that are gonna just stay, like you said, focus in the objective things, but not in the open heart things. to be one with your heart. Before you want to be one with your horse, you have to be one with yourself. Is a wholehearted attitude that's going to bring you after to develop that with your horse. And this is like mental training, or you can call even sports psychologists mental training. All these experts that they study our behaviors, our attitudes, are there for. The experts are there to help us. And I have to say that in 2006, because you asked me when did all these things like with the mental training started in my life, was in 2006, because I was still Brazilian and I wanted to ride an Olympic Games for Brazil. That's why in 2004 I rode for Brazil in Athens. Although the Portuguese team have been asking me really strong to change for Portugal in that year, I said no. I'm a Brazilian. I want to stay Brazilian. I want to ride an Olympic Games, and Portugal will never have a team, so I want to go as a team to an Olympic Games. And I sticked on my plan, and I went, and it was an extremely difficult Olympic Games for me because I was just in the middle of my like divorcing and all things like that. My horse got sick in Athens, although we had a fantastic season before. So everything that could go wrong went wrong in Athens. And I said, I need to learn from my failure to get even stronger and see what I really want to do and how do I want to do. So in 2006 came the opportunity to change countries. So I have two passports. I have Brazilian and Portuguese, as my grandparents being Portuguese. And there was always a dream from my grandfather that one day I would ride for Portugal. And as everything in my life came at the right moment, in 2006 was the right moment to change from Brazil to Portugal, because the Brazilian team, the Brazilian federation said to me, Luciana, you want to go to the Road Championship in Aachen with this horse called Dover. You're not on the team. Your horse is 18 years old. He has not the level to jump a road championship. He's a little stallion from Brazil. I mean, he cannot do that. So we are not going to put you in the team. I said, fine. I believe on my horse. I know he can do it. I trust him. So I'm not in the Brazilian team. And that's when I decided to change for Portugal. But I said that when I did that decision and everything was signed and all the papers, and I had my Portuguese interest there for the road championship in Aachen with the little horse. And I said, I need to work on myself now. I need to get strong. I need to build my confidence with this horse because I believed on him, but I need help. I need help. I have to accept that I cannot do that alone. And that's what was the first time I really said I need to find someone. And I found a French sports psychologist that worked with me until today. He works in many of my workshops. He worked in my masterclass with me. He's one of the trainers of the 8 Aspects Reinforcing program of my website. As I said, he also in my way masterclasses as a mental trainer. And he is the one that in 2006 said to me, Luciana, you trust your horse. You believed on him. And you're going to talk to him now. And you're going to tell him that you believe on him, that he can do it. Because if you don't believe on him, who else is going to believe? Mm-hmm. And from that moment on, like I said to you, in every situation of my life, in every challenge I had good experts around me that from which I learned a lot. In 2006, I learned to communicate with my horses. I learned to I had to tell my horse I trusted him and he could do it. And can you imagine, out of 175 starters in the Road Championship in 2006, we finished in the top 20. We got to the final. And, it's just things like you could never believe you could do it and get so far. And I'm sure it's because I worked together with him. He also made me talk to my horse, believe on my horse, and we wrote our goals. We work and we had a good training. We also developed a good training to get there. But I have to say also many challenges were in the way as well. Just before the Road Championship, my last training, the trainer said he can't come. He called me in the morning and said, look, I cannot come to your last training. Something happened. I cannot come. You have to train alone.
Oh, no.
And I sat there. I was in a place there and I was alone. And I said, okay, what I'm going to do? My plan today was to jump a course and have someone
Right.
helping me and look a little bit. And I was just there by myself. And if maybe on that day I would not have had this trainer with me, this mental trainer, I call him sports psychologist, Jean Seril, I would have maybe felt very negative and said, look, everything is going underwater now. My trainer is not there.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
and
That would
he
have put
said,
me in a tailspin.
yeah. And he said to me, Luciana, is because you can do by yourself. You don't need anyone. You have everything within you and you have your horse. So what else do you need? You have both of you. So, sometimes, and it's another thing that I would like also maybe to bring here, and for all of you that are watching this, that we also should start believing more in ourselves and not depending all the time on trainers and other people telling us things.
Yes.
And that's why I developed really my methodology, the butterfly method, to give you tools that you can learn to be good also for you there when you need. And you don't need all the time the people telling you what to do, how many strides here, the way to ride. When you start doing things by yourself, you're going to see you have much more chances to grow, because maybe you're going to do more mistakes. But that is when you're also going to learn. If you're ready to learn the lesson, and if you're open to be humble and say, wow, this is me, and I need to work on myself, and I want to improve. And this is, again, one of the core of why I am still in love with horses, and I still love riding, because we're always learning. We are always learning. We never stop learning. We are eternal learners. Like last week, again, in the show, in the Grand Prix in Saint-Tropez, I did a mistake in the last jump, and that motivates me even more instead of putting me down. Someone would, again, put me down. No, I even more motivated to train now, and even, to go over this obstacle, if it's still an obstacle or not. It's not, because it's already gone. The 1 minute, the 1 second, the 1 day, some weeks ago, it's gone. We learned from this, but we also let go. We have to learn to let things go and be here, concentrated today, and plan our future, and work for this. And transform our goals into a reality when we have all these plans. That's why it's important to be humble, to accept who we are, to love who we are, to love our horses, to give them the best. And even if we arrive on that day in the morning and we are feeling not good, put in the trash everything that it doesn't make you feel good. Put everything out, all your thoughts, all your ego, invisible me. Let it out when you ride the horse. And when you ride, be with the horse, connected, be one. Stay there on that session. If you have a trainer or not, just do the session. And then after that, you can go back to your inner dialogue and
Yep.
and say, okay,
your self-doubt will be there whenever you want to come back to it.
Exactly. But then I tell you, then it's your choice to go back to your self-doubt, or to say, it doesn't belong to me. I don't want that anymore in my life. Because if you keep feeding them, if you keep feeding, these emotions, yes, I have self-doubt, I am fierce. If you keep feeding them, I'm sorry to say, they're going to be there all the time for you. But if you decided to say, it doesn't belong to me, it was there, I accept, I embrace, I love my fears, but sorry, I let you go. I want to feel good now. And this is like I said, it's our choice to choose the way we want to feel and the way we want to choose with our emotions. So why not to choose the positive emotions, to feel good? And if you don't feel good, accept, but transform that moments into strength, and that will make you only stronger. That I'm sure about it.
Yeah. Acceptance, acceptance, acceptance. That's like the theme of this podcast, I feel like, is yes. Acceptance is huge.
And another one, repetition. Create on your life good habits. Repetition. If you go to your horse and every day you create these habits, I say, make a checklist, create good habits. Because if you go every day, like you said, it's just acceptance is not enough if you don't work for the acceptance and then do something for it. Just accept. Okay, that's a very important point. That's very good. But then work to have the acceptance the way you want to have it. And then repetition, put habits on your life, good habits. Let the less good habits by side. If you always come to ride with inner bad thoughts, let them gone, put in the trash, let them go with the balloon. So start putting good habits and create them. And repetition is the key.
Yeah.
Acceptance, then work for this, and then repetition every day, work again, and only there with perseverance and discipline, perseverance, determination, that is when you really get really your goals realized.
Yeah. What are some of those habits for you that you've implemented in your life that you feel like keep you on this path?
I think one of the very important points for me is to have my mind quiet, and is the meditation. So
Meditation.
for me,
Yeah.
meditation brings me back to my, I call inner peace, where I breathe. I also have some habits of breathing exercises, which really help me a lot. And I have different ones. I don't do the same every day, because I also realize that I'm someone that if I do the same every day, I get bored.
Mm-hmm.
So meditation, I try to do every day. And in the best time of my career, when I was number 4 in the road, I was really disciplined. I was doing that every day, and I know that makes me feel good. That's why
Yeah.
it's something that I even say, when you don't have time to meditate, meditate.
Yeah.
This is also
Make it a
very important.
priority. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's just not a question of meditating, because everyone has a different way. It's just stay quiet, sit, relax, close your eyes. It shows that you're giving the intention to yourself, I'm doing something for me.
Yeah.
So when you don't have time to do something for you, that is when you have to do it.
It
So
really is.
if I don't
Yeah.
have time to meditate, I will meditate. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's like doing something for you. It's very important.
I
And I
think
can
that,
tell.
yeah, the interesting thing that you mentioned a little bit is meditation can look different for different people. It doesn't always have to be using an app like Headspace or whatever for meditation, or sitting in like some soundproofed room or anything like that. Like sometimes meditation can look like I know people that a 10-minute walk is kind of their version of meditation, or just like some people meditate as they're falling asleep. Like it can look different and fit into your lives
But
differently.
riding can be meditating.
Yeah.
If you are one with that moment with your horse, riding is a meditation. And that's what I say. Even by brushing your teeth in the morning can be a meditation.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a glass of water and you drink, but you are, you like, you have the awareness of this water, why it's good for you, and why it's important to drink water. When you what your horse, if you've been in the moment, whatever you are doing, I mean, it
Present.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter really what you're doing, this is a kind of meditation. So if you sit there, and some people, like I said, they do this, or some others they do, there are thousands of ways of doing meditation, but the important is the intention that you're giving when you're doing the meditation. So if you say, today I have no time to sit maybe for half an hour and do the meditation, but I have time to sit on my horse, then I'm going to meditate while I'm riding, because
Yeah.
you know what, I'm feeling good when I'm riding.
Mm-hmm.
So meditation is also about feeling good, about having your mind free. So if you ride and you have your mind free and you're just there connected with your horse, this is also kind of meditation. So don't, this taboo of meditation has to be broken. Like meditation is sitting on a place, crossing your legs, and you're like this, and then you're like
Right.
this, meditating.
Yeah. The
And
hands and
no,
everything.
no, not at all. There's a fantastic book called 10% Happier. That is
Mm-hmm.
a man that says that it's so easy to meditate. If you just bring in a little bit habit on your life, and then you see it can really change your whole day, and even your mood sometimes, the way you interact with others, and the way you deal with difficult situations. So again, if you don't have time to give to yourself, that is when you should make some time to give to yourself, and do something
As
good
a
for you.
mother of twins knows
Yes,
that sometimes
exactly.
that time is very few and far
Exactly.
between.
Yes, riding in the high level, being mother of 2 boys,
I
being my own
can't imagine.
entrepreneur, my own life, running all this fantastic, amazing My Way masterclasses, all the programs I'm doing, writing books. I just love what I do. And this is, I can tell all of you today and share with you, is because I love what I do, and that gives me the motivation to keep going behind my dreams every time, being there, being a great mother for my children, being a great writer when I'm right, and doing the best for what I'm doing at that moment. And then asking in the end, it's not a very good question for you maybe to finish this podcast. Are you giving your best every day? Think about it. We can give our best, but remember, have courage to be imperfect, because we are learning and we are eternal learners and we want to keep learners. Then you can achieve everything you want in your life and have your own inner satisfaction, our higher purpose, and share with others.
You are such a light. Thank you so much for doing this podcast with me. Like, I feel like I could go out and conquer the world right now. You are just, your energy and like just what you bring to the sport as a role model and a top athlete. I'm just grateful for you and the example that you set and just the inspiration that you give all of us. So thank you.
Gratitude is